You guys like America? You guys like freedom? What about wheelies? And doing burnouts? Well, now's your chance to do all of that with the Nasty Racing experience. Every dollar you spend on lsnasty.com will get you entered to win our amazing experience for you and a friend to get flown down here, hang out with us, ride in our 4-second street car, and I'm gonna give you $1,000 cash.
You guys can get your muffin caps peeled back blue just like I did. I thought it was gonna be not that much. I mean, that was a lot.
lsnasty.com, you guys can't win if you're not entered. Every dollar you spend, get you entered to win a chance to ride in this thing.
Yeah, baby! Yeah, let's nasty bitch go! That's what I'm talking.
You scared me there. Came around the corner like Chris Hansen. Just didn't have your clipboard.
Why would Chris Hansen coming around the corner scare you?
That's a good point. That's a very good point. Yeah, that's a very good point.
That's Mason, you nailed that one, buddy.
As you can tell by today's video, we're talking about the 5 reasons why you shouldn't own a race car, and this is one of the 5 reasons. We're gonna go over just like I'd say the 5 generic ones. I think everyone that has a race car can agree sucks. One of them is loading and unloading. No one's, actually I got good help today. Sometimes no one's around, you gotta load your shit up by yourself. Late night at the racetrack, get done, 1 a.m., load your stuff up. You are constantly loading, unloading, loading, unloading.
It's on the parking.
It's stuck in the parking paw.
There it is.
None of this is fun. You can't go anywhere without loading or unloading. As your race program gets larger and bigger,
More stuff to unload and unload.
that wouldn't be. Let's get it in the shop and then we'll continue. All right, so number 1 on the list of 5 reasons why I shouldn't own a race car is loading and unloading the car. For us, we have multiple race cars, so we multiply the suck factor by 10 probably.
Load 5 cars in a night, let's do it.
Oh my, last time we went to the racetrack, we had our 3-car stacker, which had 2 cars in it, and then a 3-car open hauler with 3 cars on it. So we loaded up 5 cars to go to the racetrack.
And a smart car.
And a smart car. 5 hours later, we're loading all 5 of them back up to come home. And it's not just loading up, it's like this right here. You're bringing spare tires, the tent, you got the toolbox, you got coolers. Scott, what else do you bring when you're loading up? The Projects, they suck to carry
Oh my
around.
gosh.
Just getting the tongue of the trailer where it's got to be to unload everything.
You're dragging the front end, you're breaking the front end, you gotta slide in there. It's hot as hell, there's no airflow. The winch quits working. The air compressor hose, the vacuums, the leaf blower, all this stuff when you go racing. And as you go faster, the amount of shit you have to bring with you is more and more. I remember I used to go to the racetrack with my car in an open trailer behind my truck. Then I'd throw a cooler in there, and then I had some chairs in there, then I had a tent in there, and then I didn't have enough room in my truck, so then I had to get an enclosed trailer, and then I'm just filling it up with other shit. You got brake clean, rags. Don't even get me started on spare parts. You open up the toolbox and the stacker, we got thousands of dollars of rocker arms. You got spark plug wires, coils, sensors, crank sensor, cam sensor, flying magnet pickups. I mean, dude, you name it, we got it. Push rods, lifters, It's insane. That is by far one of the largest suck parts of racing. So number 1 on the list of 5 is loading and unloading. Number 2 on the list of why you shouldn't own a race car is preventative maintenance. It's something you have to do. If you don't do it, you will have a large mess to clean up, or what some people call a RUD, a rapid unscheduled disassembly, if you don't do preventative maintenance. You gotta take them in the shop, you gotta work on them, you gotta spend time, you gotta just go over everything. It's non-stop, it's never ending, and it's something that can't be missed. I mean, you can miss it, but you won't be racing for that long. Cost-wise, to do preventative maintenance, really not that bad. I'd say it's just time consuming, and it definitely requires loading and unloading from the trailer. So number 2 also carries into number 1. So we got loading, unloading, and preventative maintenance are 2 that are on the board right now. All right, guys, got the first 2 down. On to the third one, which I think might be potentially the largest. It is the cost of owning a race car. Every single thing is expensive on it. I don't want to do like a full breakdown of what something like this would cost. We have cars of every single caliber, from stock block, stock ECU, kind of factory style cars, which I'd say is like your very entry level into racing, to everything like this, like a Pro 275 car, and everything in between. All steel, all glass, LDR, just some no time stuff, some stock block, race car stuff, you name it, we got it. And they are all expensive. None of it is cheap. When you go to looking at something like this, I mean, anywhere you look, you're just talking of thousands of dollars. Motors, we're talking about this caliber, you're talking about $100,000 motors, $20,000 to $25,000 transmissions, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 turbos, even just blow-off valves, wastegates, fuel pumps, thousands and thousands of dollars. There's no way around it. You get what you pay for when it comes to the race cars. You put cheap parts on your car, they will fail. The biggest thing that I've learned in building these cars is buy once, cry once. And to me, that's the cheapest way to build a car. If you go out there and you put a cheap fuel pump on there, boom, you can take out your motor. Now you gotta buy a new fuel pump and a new motor, and stuff like that happens all the time. You really win a lot of your races here in the shop and sitting down being methodical building these cars, and they are expensive. There's no shortcuts, and unfortunately that's just, you know, the name of the game. If you want to build a high-end, competitive, consistent race car, be prepared to spend the money, and it doesn't stop. You know, you'll be getting 90% of the way through the build, and you kind of get that weight lifted off your shoulders. You fooled yourself, because it is going to $100, $200 to $300 you to death with just buying little fittings, lines, wire ties, wiring. I mean, you name it, just the little stuff here is so expensive. Something like this, I mean, all the plumbing on this car, we did all Brown & Miller. It really, I think, sets it apart. They're super nice, super high quality. They last really long. Buy once, cry once deal. You can do it cheaper if you get Amazon fuel lines and Red Horse lines and all that stuff, but will they last under, you know, the stress, the pressure, you running methanol through them? No, they won't. In a year or two, you'll have lines that are cracking. Then it becomes a risk where you can lose your whole investment. So the cost of building these cars, whether it's a turbo car, a supercharger car, a nitrous car, an all-motor car, it doesn't matter. In the big picture, in the small picture, whatever way you look at it, this shit is expensive. All right, number 4 on the list is going to be time. It is going to eat up most all of your free time and some time that's not even free to build cars like this. When I think about time, about how much time you invest, I think about building the car, because you can't even, sometimes you can't even count that high how many hours you have in these cars, let alone once they're done, just the time it takes traveling to and from events, loading up like we said before, do the preventative maintenance. These cars will eat up your time. This right here is Logan's car. It is in, I'd say, an early stage of the build. A lot of time has already been put into this car to get it to this state. And if you guys look at it, you guys are probably saying, well, he's not racing anytime soon. And that is true and false. Depends on how much time you put towards it, how much time you're going to eliminate from everything else you do. Weekends, consider them gone. Vacations, consider them gone. Free time after work, consider that gone. You want to build you a car, you are going to spend the time, late hours, early mornings. It just eats up so much time. I don't think a lot of people understand how much time goes into these cars. You're talking about hundreds of hours at this point, from the cage, just installing the rear end, installing the K-member, putting the tube front end on, turbo kits, whether it's fabrication, wiring, sometimes just sitting down and spending time just to map out the build correctly, because it does take time. And I think that's one of the most important parts, is you got to sit down and really be strategic on how you build the car. Ordering parts, that takes so much time. I'd say the best time is unboxing the parts, because it kind of gives you like a Christmas vibe. So you get Christmas quite often, but it just takes up so much time. If you're going into building one of these cars, you want to have a race car, you got to sit down and understand, if you like playing golf, probably not going to be doing a lot of it. If you like going to the beach, probably not going to be doing a lot of it. You are going to have to dedicate a lot of time, effort, and a lot of times it sucks. You don't want to be working on it, but that's when you need to go in here and grind and get these cars knocked out. Is you know, late at night, everyone else is sleeping, it's your chance to get ahead. These things right here will eat up a lot of time. All right, guys, number 5, the last one on the list, potentially the most powerful, impactful one. The liability of running these cars. You invest so much time, so much money, so much effort into these cars. In a split second, you can end up with something like this. This was the Bad Apple. It was our all-steel, all-glass car. Unfortunately, it was involved in a wreck, and this thing was trash. Everything but the motor and transmission was junk. You have a $100,000, $150,000 car. You're talking about wheels, tires, rear end, all the work, the chassis, trash. All the wiring, all the time you put into the car, trash. Just gets thrown away in a split second. And anytime you strap into these cars, you go to the racetrack, you know in the back of your mind that's a possibility. It's a risk you have to take. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. Anytime you go down the racetrack, you are risking it all. I mean, that's just how it is. Anything can happen in drag racing. It could be a hard parts failure, something on the track. You just get out the groove. It don't matter. At any point in time, your entire investment is up for grabs. And some people enjoy the risk. Other people, I feel like, don't understand it. And then when they wreck the car, they're just like, dude, that's it. I didn't really quite understand it until we had a car that we all invested a lot of time and money into get wrecked, and then it definitely hits a little bit different. You have a little different perspective on it. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I definitely have a lot of respect for even just going up there making a test hit. That's life, that's racing, you live and learn, but it's something I think a lot of people need to understand and really need to factor. If you're not willing to put all of that into this car, you have to be willing to lose it. If you're not okay with that, probably building a race car isn't for you. And that's what I think a lot of people don't understand is all of the different aspects of racing. You know, everyone goes out there and they see the pictures on Facebook of the car doing good, and they see, you know, you in the winner's circle, or you setting a PB, or you setting a record, and they think that's awesome. They don't see the time in the shop, the struggle, the testing, the fighting with it, the figuring it out. That right there is a whole nother beast, and that's all part of racing. I don't think racing's meant for everybody. I think it's meant for a lot of people, and I think some people get into it and they have to learn to love it. But these are just 5 reasons why I feel you shouldn't have a race car. And we're gonna do another video with 5 reasons why you should, which will give you a complete opposite perspective. Me, myself, I love my race cars. I got a bunch of them. I'd like to have a bunch more, and we're gonna keep racing. We're gonna keep burning the midnight oil, work on these cars, and building them. So there you guys have it. Comment down below what you guys think, your reasons why you should not own a race car. If you guys are race car owners out there, give some warning to the people that think about getting into it. And also tell me your reasons why you hate it. Why do you hate your race car? Because everyone hates the race car a little bit. So thank you guys so much for watching. Go down and click that subscribe button, and we'll see you in tomorrow's upload.